President Trump is comparing the coronavirus to the Obama-era swine flu. Was it a full-scale disaster, or is Trump covering for his mistakes? Welcome back to America Uncovered. I'm Chris Chappell, working hard to provide edutainment to all the nice folks out there now cowering in their homes in fear. So, have you heard? The coronavirus is spreading in the United States. President Trump has declared it a national emergency. But these trying times are bringing Americans together. Just kidding. Politicians and media are using the deadly pandemic to attack each other. It's still an election year, after all. Media are slamming Trump for his handling of the coronavirus. Some say Trump himself must be held accountable for it. Some are even calling the coronavirus outbreak Trump's Chernobyl. The problem is, a lot of the criticism of how the Trump administration has handled the coronavirus is based on misinformation. For example, that Trump has turned America into a failed state because the administration fired the U.S. pandemic response team in 2018. The criticism was repeated in other media, including by former Obama administration officials like Beth Cameron, who had worked in the pandemic response office. Cameron argued that it is clear that eliminating the office has contributed to the federal government's sluggish domestic response. But it's not that simple, at least according to Tim Morrison, who joined the National Security Council shortly after Trump supposedly fired everyone from the pandemic response team. He says the White House didn't dissolve its pandemic response office because he led the very directorate assigned that mission, the Counterproliferation and Biodefense Office. Under the previous three presidents, the National Security Council staff had quadrupled in size. It was so bloated that during the Obama administration in 2015, the Washington Post said the National Security Council had come to symbolize an overbearing and paranoid White House that insists on controlling even the smallest policy details, often at the expense of timely and effective decisions. In fact, the Obama administration had already started cutting National Security Council staff in 2015, something that the Trump administration continued doing when he took office. Yes, another instance that no one likes to admit, where Trump continued an Obama policy. In terms of the pandemic response team, according to Morrison, a bunch of overlapping groups were consolidated into a single, more efficient group. It is this reorganization that critics have misconstrued or intentionally misrepresented. If anything, the combined directorate was stronger because related expertise could be commingled. Morrison also pointed out that as the Trump administration continues to streamline the National Security Council, the biodefense staff has not been cut. So on one hand, you have former Obama officials arguing that eliminating the office made the White House less efficient. And you have former Trump officials arguing that consolidating the office made it more efficient. In any case, it's clear that the administration did not fire the entire pandemic response team, as was written in this Atlantic article. Now, I'm not pointing this out to defend Trump. I just happen to agree with Morrison that this matters because when people play politics in the middle of a crisis, we are all less safe because the American people have been recklessly scared into doubting the competence of their government to help keep them safe, secure, and healthy. In fact, during the Democratic debates, many of the candidates attacked the Trump administration's coronavirus response with accusations that simply weren't true. Check out that episode, Coronavirus, Did Trump Make Us Less Safe? The coronavirus has become incredibly political, which is why, according to a recent poll, 74% of Republicans say they trust the information they hear about the coronavirus from President Trump, while only 8% of Democrats do. But don't worry. President Trump, being the victim of ruthless partisan politics, has taken a noble path, has risen above the muck to do the exact same thing and blame Obama. Or as Trump likes to describe him,
The previous administration.
The previous administration.
The previous administration.
He tweeted that their response to H1N1 swine flu was a full-scale disaster. He went on Fox News' Sean Hannity earlier this month to say the previous administration didn't do anything.
Well, I will say, though, the H1N1, that was swine flu, commonly referred to as swine flu, and that went from around April of 2009 to April of 10, where there were 60 million cases of swine flu, and you had actually it's over 13,000. I think you might have said 17. I had heard it was 13, but a lot of deaths, and they didn't do anything about it.
He repeated that same idea 10 days later.
If you go back and look at the swine flu and what happened with the swine flu, you'll see how many people died and how actually nothing was done for such a long period of time as people were dying all over the place. We're doing it the opposite. We're very much ahead of everything.
So Trump is saying the Democrats are wrong to criticize his administration's response to the coronavirus when they didn't criticize the Obama administration's response to the H1N1 swine flu. There are serious problems with that argument. I'll get to those in a moment, but in case you don't remember, the swine flu was a global pandemic that began in 2009 in Mexico. In the U.S., in just 1 year, it infected over 60 million people, killing over 12,000. But there are serious problems with Trump's comparison of the coronavirus to the swine flu. Currently, the coronavirus has only infected 4,000 Americans and killed around 100. But comparing a disease at the beginning of an outbreak to one that ran its course for a year is not the same thing. The swine flu also had a mortality rate of 0.02%. That's less than many typical flus. We don't know for certain what the coronavirus mortality rate is, but currently the WHO estimates it's between 3 and 4%. Now, that number is not final since we're still in the middle of the epidemic, and it could end up being lower. But as of now, officials are working with the information that the coronavirus is 15 to 20 times more deadly than the swine flu. That means the response needs to be more serious. But as for Trump's claim that Obama did nothing, well, that's an exaggeration. Imagine Trump exaggerating. So let's compare how Trump handled the coronavirus to how Obama handled the swine flu, keeping in mind the coronavirus is still in the early stages of spreading. The swine flu outbreak, aka H1N1, most likely began in rural Mexico in January 2009. The coronavirus, aka SARS-CoV-2, which nobody really calls it, the earliest known case of that was in Wuhan, China in November 2019. In both cases, it took a long time to identify as a problem in the United States. For the swine flu, the World Health Organization declared it a public health emergency on April 25, 2009. And the next day, April 26, the Obama administration declared a public health emergency. For the coronavirus, the WHO declared it a public health emergency on January 30th, 2020. The next day, January 31st, the Trump administration declared a public health emergency. Obama asked for $1.5 billion to fight the swine flu outbreak. Later, he asked for an additional $9 billion and ended up signing a $7.7 billion bill. Definitely not nothing. Trump asked for $2.5 billion to fight the coronavirus outbreak, plus an $850 billion stimulus package, and ended up signing an $8 billion bill. Obama never closed the border to Mexico, despite being advised to do so. Trump banned travel to and from China early in the coronavirus outbreak, and has expanded it to include Europe. The World Health Organization declared the swine flu a pandemic on June 11, 2009. The Obama administration renewed the public health emergency on July 24th and October 1st, but did not declare a national emergency till October 24th, nearly 6 months after the initial outbreak. At that point, the CDC director said millions of people had been infected in the U.S. and more than 1,000 had died. The World Health Organization declared the coronavirus a pandemic on March 11th, 2020. 2 days later, on March 13th, Trump declared a national emergency. And the funny thing about the swine flu outbreak a decade ago is that it highlighted many national weaknesses. Old, slow vaccine technology, too much reliance on foreign vaccine factories, some major hospitals pushed to their limits by a relatively mild epidemic. And it's like nothing has changed. Except now we have a new president to attack. So there's definitely been problems with the way both Obama and Trump handled their respective deadly virus outbreaks. But Trump using the opportunity to criticize Obama might just be the pot calling the kettle black. Wait, no, bad analogy, never mind. Anyway, what do you think of the comparisons between the handling of the coronavirus versus the swine flu? Let me know in the comments below. And remember, with YouTube demonetizing all content about the coronavirus, we'd have been run out of business if it weren't for the support of fans like you who contribute on the crowdfunding website Patreon. Head over to patreon.com/AmericaUncovered to find out how you can help. Once again, I'm Chris Chappell. Thanks for watching America Uncovered.